Welcome back to the Butcher's Word. Today's adventure is about chicken stock. But why chicken stock?
Well, first off, it's simple and cheap to make. It's versatile. You can use it in so many different dishes. It's healthy for you. And while this video doesn't revolve around traditional butchery, a good butcher uses all parts of the animal, and making stock is a classic example of that. So what we can need: a big old stock pot, some random chicken parts, mirepoix, bouquet garni, cascasse, water. Well, let's get started. Today we are using drumsticks because they were on sale, and chicken backs because I love making stock with them. So the purpose of blanching is to remove some of the impurities that will cause your finished stock to be cloudy. You see, as the bones are cooking in the stock, lots of little proteins will coagulate and solidify into a froth or scum that forms on top and throughout your stock, making it cloudy. Most home cooks don't take this step, as it's normally reserved for upscale restaurants or the finest hotel kitchens. However, I'm considered somewhat of an avant-garde by my contemporaries, so I take this extra step. Throw the backs into some cold water, give them a quick stir, and then drain the water. Refill the pot with cold water so that all of your backs are covered. Get them on the stove, and let's move on to the mirepoix. Here you will see my ratio for a standard batch of chicken stock. In professional kitchens, the culinary staff will collectively gather veggie scraps throughout the week and add them to a pot of stock whenever they make it. And there's a lot of home cooks who do the same thing, keep a bag of scraps in their freezer for whenever they make stock. It's a great habit to get into. I guess I'm just more interested in bad habits. All joking aside, my goal is to strip down this process to its simplest form with a little touch of elegance. Now let's check out those chicken backs. Que delicioso. I'm just removing any residual crud or coagulated proteins that remained on the chicken backs. You do not have to do this, or at least to this extent. I just like to overcomplicate everything in life. Fill up your pot with water all the way to the permanently fixed watermark line there, and get it on the stove, where we will bring it to a nice gentle simmer and walk away for a little bit while it reduces, only to return to an absolute disaster. French chefs around the world are scolding me right now, so we're going to go ahead and turn this down and skim off that foam. I also forgot to record myself removing all that beautiful scum that formed on top. Seems to be a theme in my video making process, so we're just going to improv here. Okay. Do you see those little bubbles that are popping up in the back? That is an indication of the perfect level of simmer. It's just barely bubbling. And this is our 901 check. And here we are almost 2 hours later. You can see the water level has dropped almost 2 inches. And right now it's just meat and water. Now it's time for mirepoix. Part 2. Bouquet garni. What is bouquet garni? Well, it's basically your aromatics. Some people use cheesecloth. There's a million different ways to do this. I like to employ our butcher's knot technique. So make sure you get yourself some crappy butcher twine that none of the customers wanted at your last job, so you got to take it home because it wasn't going to get used. And you know the routine here. Pinch the little slip knot thing there, and make sure you do a second knot to tighten it, and you are getting sleepy. Very, very sleepy. Alright, enough of that. It also includes black peppercorns and bay leaves. I like to suspend my herbs over the steam. It helps open them up. Okay, I'm just kidding. Do not do that. Just drop them in. Tie them to your handle on your stock pot in case they disappear into the abyss. I'm not going to film myself putting bay leaves in there. That's how many peppercorns I use. And in go the veggies. Well, that's where things are going to sit for the next 4 hours while I go binge watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force and drink whiskey. Say goodnight, little stock. Good night. Where did it all go? Oh, there it is. We like to have fun here. Anyhow, you can see how much liquid has evaporated. We are basically left with about 3 cups of stock. Just kidding. We're going to go ahead and strain it now. I will spare you from watching me remove all the vegetables, but you can go ahead and just get a regular strainer like this. Fancy places will use it's called like a China cap, which is a finer mesh straining device, or coffee filters. That's kind of where I draw the line when it comes to how far I go to make a stock. But we've got everything out of there and we're ready for takeoff. Now I portion out the stock and freeze it. As I said earlier, it's super versatile. You can enhance everything with a good stock. Grits, polenta, any kind of grain, sauces, gravies. I make greens with it. You can even doll up your cheap ramen noodles. Another benefit is that if you live in an apartment like mine, which was probably built before the Civil War, you know that the radiators are essentially nuclear reactors and remove all moisture from the air. Doing an overnight stock turns your apartment into a lovely chicken stock steam room, and who doesn't like coming home to that? I would also like to note that you can roast the backs instead of blanching them. This has a similar effect to the blanching process and adds a wonderful color and flavor to your stock. Thank you again for all of your support. I promise more videos are coming soon. Until next time, thank you for joining The Butcher's Word.